All right, so let's begin with the what was it, the second to last one. Hold on, let me see what it was called. Let me share my screen. Um, Windows are spaces. Let's begin with this one. So download this file. Let's go ahead and go. This is my Windows box, right? And I've already downloaded the file. So if I go to my downloads folder, I have two files here, the run me and the test me again for the next problem. So the run me, let's go ahead and let's open up a command prompt. And it's CD2 downloads. And let's run the run me executable. I wrote the flag into a file. Take a look there. If we do a dir, you see there's a new file here, special characters with the $ and the caret txt. And we basically want to see the contents of this file. So the equivalent, like if we were on Linux, we would do cat. We're on Windows, so the equivalent command is type. We'll do type. We'll type out the characters. And we'll see that when we use tab command, when tab complete, it'll surround them in quotes. If you didn't use tab complete, you could just put the quotes there yourself and say special $ characters space caret.txt. You type, and there is your flag. So it's basically, if you had type and you knew to either use tab complete or to use quotes, then you were able to get the flag for that problem. Then for the next problem, the test me again. So the next setup is to set up the next step is to set up a private network so your VMs can talk to each other. And so after going through and setting this up, I realized this wasn't even, I don't even know why this paragraph is here, because you're not actually making the VMs talk to each other. You're just configuring your Windows VM to have a static IP address. And this site, there's a site in the hint that kind of will walk you through it. If you go and open link that tab, because if we're gonna, I'll walk through doing it both visually and on the command line. But I don't remember the commands to do it on the command line, so I'm going to use that site as a guide. But essentially, I want to create a static IP using 192.168.2.102 as the static IP. So first thing first, let me go to VirtualBox. I need to change my settings. I need to set this to a static IP. So let me power this off. And go to settings, go to network, change this adapter from NAT to host only, right? Host only adapter, right? So now this machine will not be able to contact the internet. It can only talk to my host machine. This VM can only talk to my host machine and other machines that are connected to this host only network, right? So with that, let's go ahead. Now we have that okay. We'll go ahead and start this up. And additionally, I'll go ahead because this shouldn't take too long in terms of actually walking through this problem. So I'll show you where I was going yesterday afternoon with the making your VMs talk to each other, because it is going to be something that you're going to need to do. And I don't think it's something that we've explicitly covered. So I'll go ahead and walk through that, and then you'll see how you can make two VMs talk to each other on a host-only network. So go ahead, log in full stack. And then all right, so first, let's go ahead and do it the visual way. So first, let me go and open up a command prompt. And actually what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna right click this and pin to my taskbar. So it's just easier to get to, and run that. And if I cd to downloads, and I run test me again, double check your network address. It's not 192.168.2, that's 102. Okay, so now the visual way to do this icon down here is for your network settings. Right now you see it has this warning because I have no internet access, right? Because I'm host only, so this machine cannot speak to the internet. It can only speak to the host machine and other VMs that are connected to the host machine. I'll go open network and internet. I will go to Ethernet. I'm going to go to change adapter options. Here is my adapter, my right, the interface, the network card is actually connecting to the network. Right click this and I will go to properties. In properties, there's a checkbox for TCP/IP v4, which is the one that we're concerned with. So I'll go to properties here. I'll select that and go to properties. Right now, it's getting an IP address automatically. So it's looking for the DHCP server that VirtualBox is running to get an IP address when it boots up. But instead, I'm going to say use the following IP address, right? So that's all a static IP address is. It's basically, I'm saying every time you boot up, use this IP address. And the IP address that we need to use is 192.168.2.102. And then our subnet mask, 255.255.255.0. So basically a /24 on the network. And after that, so we're not reaching out to the internet. So we're only talking to our host, and our host is not a DNS server. So we're going to leave. We're not going out to the internet. So there is no default gateway. And we're not using any DNS servers. So we'll just say, okay, close this. And if we come back here and run test me again a second time, there's your flag. So if we go back and let's go back and undo what we did. So we'll go click the network icon, right click it, go to open network and internet settings, go to Ethernet, change adapter options, right click our adapter, click properties, TCP/IP version 4, properties, and it will change it back to obtain an IP address automatically. Okay, close. Close and close this. If we run test me again now, it should fail. And so now to do it on the command line. So on the command line, let's go here and here, this is walking through. So ipconfig, that's all. Will show you all of your network settings. So if we do ipconfig/all, actually we don't need all because that's too much information. We just need ipconfig actually. So let's just that's too much information. Let's do ipconfig, and there we have, right, that's our adapter, that's the current IP address, that's the subnet mask, which is all we're concerned with. So from here, what we need, so here's the command that we need to change our static IP address, to change our IP address to static. So netsh interface IP set address, the name of the interface, which here is our interface name here. And then static, the IP address we're setting it to, the subnet mask, and then this is the default gateway, which we're not going to use. So we're going to do, we'll do net sh interface IP set address, IP set address name equals Ethernet space 2. And then we have static, the IP address, static, the IP address that we're sending it to, 192.168.2.102, and our subnet mask, 0. And once again, we're going to leave out the default gateway. So we do enter there. Wait, what did I do wrong?
Your Ethernet is spelled incorrect.
Oh, and actually, you know what? I can't do it in this prompt anyway because I need to be admin. So it actually wasn't going to work anyway. So let's go do CMD and let's run as administrator. And so now it's net sh interface address. What is it? IP set address. IP set address name equals Ethernet 2 static 192.168.2.102, and then our there we go. Without the typos, it works. And now if we cd to C users, Jenny downloads, and if we run test me again, there's our flag. Right, so those are the two ways that you could have gone about it with the command line with the net sh, or you could have used the network control panel GUI. All right, and then so with that, I'm going to power this machine down, and I have two VMs. So actually last night, a new Kali version came out, 2020.4 was released. I downloaded that. I have that here. I haven't really set up anything. Let me see my IP address, but this one already, right? I have my two IP addresses, right? One is NAT and one is host only. And if I look here in my VirtualBox, you see here for the network settings, and I go to network, I have two adapters. One that's the NAT, that Ethernet adapter will allow me to connect to the internet, and it's the host only connected to the VBoxnet 0 network that would allow me to talk to other machines that are connected to that host only network. All right, and so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say okay here, but I'm going to go change my Windows machine, and I'll change this to NAT just to make them match so that they're the same. And change this to host only. VBoxnet 0, say okay. And now I'll start this back up. And so now while that is starting up, let's go over here and let's start up my web server on this machine, because I want to be able, we'll be able to ping, but that's not going to really show anything. Let's show some actual network connectivity. So let's spin up our web server. Let's do system control. Also, if anybody decides to download 2020.4, know that by default, it does not use bash as the shell. It uses Z shell, which I prefer, and I've been setting to my default shell anyway. But if you want bash, you'll have to use the change shell command to get back bash and use bash.
Wait, Frank, you said 2020.4 is using Z shell as default?
Yep.
I gotta get new. All right, cool.
Yep. So let's do start SSH. I mean, no, I didn't mean start SSH. I mean, started Apache 2. Start Apache 2, and let's go and make a file in there. So var www.html, that's my web root. Any files in here will be served up by Apache. And let's just go ahead and vim frank.html. Let's do everybody. H3. Now we have a page on this web server, and if locally we go to this web server, local host, and go to frank.html, right, there you go. Hi, Frank. On this machine, on our host only network, right? So if we go back to VirtualBox and we go to File, Host Network Manager, we see VBox Net 0 has the is using 192.168.56.1 as the subnet. So all the IPs on this address will be 192.168.56.x whatever. So I go to here, I see my 192.168.56.7 is the IP address on the host only network, right? This is my host only adapter on this machine. And now if I go over to my Windows machine, I should be able to reach my Kali machine using that host only IP address. So now if I open up a web browser over here and go to that address, oh, don't tell me what to do. Let's see something. So I'm having an issue with my NAT controller, but let's see. Well, I did change the network settings on this machine, right? Or did I not? On this VM. Okay. They're my two machines. This is the host only 56, 192.168.56. It feels like my NAT address should be a 10 address. So I'm not sure why. I must have done something wrong in my, what you call it, but it doesn't matter. My host only seems to be set up correctly. So and all I want to do is be able to show network connectivity between the two VMs. So if I do http://192.168.56.7. All right, that's my default Apache page. And if I do, stop it. http 56.7 frank.html, and there's my page. So now these two VMs can talk. They can see each other on the network. If I were to here ping the other one, like I can ping. So this is 168.56.6.7. I can ping that machine. I don't know if I wonder if is my, I don't know if I turned off the IP config. This is 56.6. If I ping 192.168.56.6, okay. My firewall must not be on my Windows box because I think by default it should block pings, but for whatever reason it's not. But so these machines can talk unencumbered, right? And we use the host only adapter. We use this. And so let's while we're here, take a settings, network. No, it's NAT. And this is host only. I'm not sure why my NAT's not working on the Windows machine. So, but it's this host only adapter that's allowing us to talk because they're both on the same network, both set to host only. They both have this adapter with the host only, and that allows the two machines to talk, the two VMs to talk. Was there another question that any questions about what we just did before I move?
I'm just wondering, after we do the last problem where we set all that things, do we have to undo those settings?
Yeah, you should undo them because with host only, you can't connect to the internet. So like if we do that right now, like let me share my screen. What I'm gonna, let me power this down. And so what I'm just gonna do for now, I'm gonna disable the host only and just leave the NAT adapter on this Windows machine. So whatever the one that you had set to host only, you can set it to NAT, or if you created an extra adapter, you can disable that adapter. But it's essentially you want to make sure that you have at least one adapter that's set to NAT. That'll allow you to access the internet. And so now if I start this now, unless let this work. And now if I open up a browser, nope, my NAT is still not working. So let's troubleshoot this really quickly. Let's go in here, open network and internet settings, go to Ethernet, change adapter options, properties, TCP/IP4 properties. Oh, it's still set to use. Let's change that. Maybe that was the problem. I still had it set to use the static. So I went into TCP/IP properties. So I think that was the problem because it was still using a static IP address instead of the one from the DHCP. Set it back to obtain an IP address automatically and say, okay, close, close this. And now it'll work. So yeah, make sure you undo those settings on that Ethernet adapter to set it back to obtain an IP address automatically, and then set the in VirtualBox, set your network adapter to NAT, and then you'll be able to access the internet. All right. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
And I know so I got the password reuse question.
Mm-hmm.
I did it
Mhm.
in the command line, but I keep typing in the command and it's not going through. Like the flag isn't being accepted.
Oh, the flag's not being accepted in CyberLab?
Yeah.
Doing something wrong.
But I did it in the VirtualBox and I changed the password. Like it worked.
We'll get somebody to help you out there and figure out what's going wrong.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Any other questions? All right, then it's 9:55. Matt, you want to give him 5 minutes to start at 10?
Yeah, that's fine.